self-serving, persuasive talkers
of everything and nothing.
We are Conversation Con Artists. What's going on, people? It's your boy, Mr. On Point.
And I am Calamity Red.
And we are Conversation Con Artists, back for another wonderful episode. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Mr. MISTER_on point. Also on TikTok at Carl_Young, YUNG.
Oh, that's right. You did add that. I could be found at Red_Calamity on Instagram, because right now that's pretty much the only place that you can find me. I keep flirting with going back to YouTube, and haven't made it there yet. So Instagram is it for now.
I'll have my YouTube up within the next few weeks.
But you can send us any letters, any questions about past shows, any ideas for future shows to our Gmail account, which is conversationconartists@gmail.com. We did not receive any letters this week, so we're going to get right into some Reddits and hear about other people's, people that we don't know shit. I'm going to do this one first, simply because the title got me. So like I said before, the way that I do Reddit letters is I read the title. If the title grabs me, I'll look at the content of the letter. I don't read it, but just to make sure, because some people be writing 4-page letters and ain't nobody got time to read all that shit. So I look at it to make sure that it's not going to be too long for the show, and then I choose it. The title of this one, I was like, in the year of our Lord 2022? Okay. So I'm going to do this one first. It's an Am I the Asshole? Am I the asshole for forcing my son to change his lifestyle after I found out he has scurvy?
The fuck is scurvy?
What Pirates used to get on the open sea.
That ain't got no new name for today.
Because it doesn't exist. Like, nobody has scurvy anymore. It doesn't exist in developed places anymore.
So does he actually have it, or is they just calling some other shit scurvy?
So I wanted to, before we even get into the letter, scurvy is a disease that's caused by a deficiency in vitamin C, which is rare in the developed world. Doesn't happen overnight. Generally setting in after a few months of low vitamin C intake. So I don't know what he's doing that you wouldn't get vitamin C from.
Do you know, if you look at your fingernails and if you got like white deposits in the middle of your fingernails, that's vitamin C. That's where our vitamin C excess goes. Yeah, so I normally have it, but I don't now. But anyway, that's where I fact that I know. But go ahead.
So let's see how he ended up with this, because I'm like, the fuck. Okay, this isn't the judgment on why it happened in the first place. I let my son Jake, who is 14, just kind of do his own thing. He is mildly autistic and has hang-ups about certain foods, so I basically let him eat whatever he has wanted. He also loves video games, so his activities was that. He hasn't had gym class or recess since elementary school because he takes band instead of gym. His teeth were giving him issues, and his doctor ran some blood work, and the doctor said he has mild scurvy. Autistic or not, I'm forcing him to eat better with a nutritionist, child psychologist, and his primary care doctor. He's on a strict diet, and he goes outside to do some exercises. He also has to get some vitamin C IVs. Jake hated me for forcing him to listen to the doctors. My husband thinks I'm being mean, but it was my hands-off approach that caused this. Everyone thinks Jake is capable of eating properly. He's just refusing to do so. The doctors and psychologists' new approach is now no food in the house that Jake will revert to eating. His school was alerted to the issue by a social worker, and Jake has to eat his lunch observed. My husband is becoming an issue because he will sneak Jake food and act like we are abusing or bullying Jake. We're all trying to enforce a healthy lifestyle, and my husband left me tonight saying he won't stay with me if I continue to agree to this. He's sleeping at his friend's house, and Jake thinks I'm a fucking monster for making him eat healthy and exercise. Your husband's a dick. What?
Damn.
Your husband left you like you were giving him plates of dog shit to eat and making him eat that. Like, he developed scurvy. It's not even something that you develop.
What happens when scurvy gets bad? Like,
let's see. weakness, fatigue, irritability, loss of weight or loss of appetite or weight loss, muscular pain, sunken eyes, paleness, diarrhea, increased heart rate, shortness of breath, fever, and if it continues, swelling in joints or gums, reopening of old wounds, easy bruising, bulging eyes, dry, scaly skin. And in children, which he's not, this is more small kids, so that wouldn't be him. But that's how it progresses if it continues.
Damn. And then start looking like Beetlejuice from the Howard Stern show. Her eyeballs be poking out. Scary.
You're not, how is she the asshole? Your husband is an asshole. Like, it would be different if there was a lot of factors mixed into this. You know, the kid has mild autism, and I don't even know if that's part of the reason. Or some kids just like refuse, you know, they don't want to do something. And if you allow them to not do it, they're going to keep refusing to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, they had very much a hands-off approach with him in the beginning. And so, of course, he's like, I don't want to do this shit. I ain't had to do it. Why you want me to do it now? But he's 14.
Well, you know, a lot of parents, especially dealing with, like, kids on the autistic spectrum, see a lot of behaviors that try to get kids to do things they don't want to do as abuse. Because a lot of people just try to force them to do things. So daddy might just be more versed in talking about and researching about what that abuse looked like, that not really abuse to a lay person. You think that he's hypersensitive to people forcing him to do stuff, maybe. I don't know.
I mean, again, you not only are you not helping in trying to convince him to do it on his own if you feel like him being forced is the issue, you're undermining the efforts that all of these people, her, the psychologist, all of these people are making by giving him the food he don't need to fucking have. How is that beneficial, Dad? What you doing?
I would think that is low. Like, so you have to stop eating certain foods for vitamin C deficiency. You can't just like add vitamin C foods.
Well, but I think you could if it was a regular situation. But it sounds like this kid was he refuses. So like, if he knows his dad is gonna sneak him stuff, he gonna refuse to eat the vitamin C shit they trying to get him and just wait for his dad to give him the other stuff. Like, it's gonna undermine the attempts.
You gotta crush up a vitamin C goddamn pill and put that shit in that man Kool-Aid. Get that man some Flintstone vitamins.
But depending on how bad, I mean, he's developed scurvy already. This is not like trying to prevent it. He got it already. So like, I don't know how much you have to hit it to get it back to normal. And then maybe like the maintenance could be vitamin C tablets. But like, once you start developing mild scurvy, I don't know that it's just as easy as doing the shit that everybody else do, which is like have vitamins every day. Like, he beyond that for now.
This is one of the reasons I don't want kids. You know, because it's like, even if you talk about as much as you can about having kids, nobody have that conversation thinking that their kid might, you know, have autism or might multiple sclerosis or whatever other things that you start seeing develop in children. Nobody think about that conversation in the context of what if our kid is a sociopath. Like, I just wouldn't want my relationship to be busted up. Like, I wouldn't want a child that had a significant level of problems to mess up my relationship, the person I chose to be with and have a kid with. That's one of the things that I'm scared about, you know, worried about when it comes to that shit. Like, I mean, I want that.
Yeah, it's difficult. I don't know. You it's Russian roulette. Like, you don't know. You know, once you pull that trigger, you might get a perfectly healthy child, and you just have because even if you don't have a child that has any like major issues like autism, you can have a child that just goes through like hell, terrible twos, or like teenagers that think they know every goddamn thing, and like having one parent that wants to be more lenient and one parent that wants to be more strict. Like, it doesn't even necessarily have to be something serious for it to impact your relationship.
Yeah.
Like, it could be more minor things, especially if y'all haven't talked about what your parenting style is, or how you feel like kids should be disciplined or any of that shit. It could be basic shit that make people break up. It don't even have to be major, like our kid has Down syndrome. Now what we gonna do? Kind of.
What is something minor that you feel like is a non-negotiable for your child?
As it pertains to kids?
Yeah, like if you were with your partner, what would be something that may get y'all into a little back and forth for? You know, one thing for me is like women who don't want their kids to play sports because they're afraid they'll get hurt. That kind of thing. That'll have to be a conversation.
Like any kind of like, or not sexism, like any kind of like issues with like roles, right? Like there was a conversation, I think it was last year, that was going around about men feeling a certain type of way about little boys playing with kitchen sets. That kind of shit. We're not finna do this, okay? He want to play with the kitchen set. You're not gonna sit up here and tell me that a kitchen set is a girl toy. He can't play with that shit. Like, are you serious? You know how you sound? Don't niggas gotta eat? Weren't you cooking for I met you? How did you feed yourself before we got together? The fuck are you talking about? Poorly, exactly. He ain't gonna be that way. At least he'll know how to take care of himself and won't be out here just waiting on a bitch to do stuff for him. Like, what the fuck? That kind of shit would piss me off. Like a little girl, my daughter can't play with, Marvel toys. I'm a big ass Marvel fan, okay? I would be psyched as fuck if my little girl wanted to have like Deadpool sheets and shit. Like, let's go. We're gonna go immediately and get this shit for her. Like that kind of shit I can't deal with that. We're not finna do that. Like you're not gonna tell them they can't do anything based off of their gender, especially like silly shit. Like, are you serious? No, we're not doing that. She want Deadpool sheets, she get Deadpool sheets. He want to fucking cook on his little play oven, we getting him an oven.
What about spending the night?
Spending the night where?
At a friend's house.
Who's a friend?
Who's gonna be there? I mean, in my world, I know everybody that's gonna be there. I know the parents. I done talked to them. I may even break in that bitch and not break in, but like show up. Just be like, hey, y'all doing all right? Y'all need anything from the store? Need drinks or anything? Snacks or anything? You know what I'm saying? Just to like scope the scene out or whatever. But
so for me, I don't know.
I read a whole thread of women who was like, when they went to sleepovers with their girlfriends, it was just all like inappropriate stuff between girls physically. Like there's a whole thread. Not saying that's all that happened, but then like I saw a TikTok where this woman was talking about how her daddy never wanted her to go to sleepovers, and then her daddy went out of town. Mama let her go to the sleepover. She was in the bathroom in the middle of the night, and she opened the door, and her brother was standing right there, trying to push his way in, and she was like, she just was naive. She didn't know what was going to happen until he tried to touch her breast, and then she was like, "Oh, I know what this is," and she was like, "I'm gonna scream," and he let her go when she said she was gonna scream.
See,
so that's why something that you should be paranoid about, or and should that mean that they can't do it, or does that mean that we should do our due diligence in making sure we can understand the environment as best we can?
So I have an ex-coworker that whenever she does sleepovers for her daughter, she only has 2 daughters, so she doesn't have a son, so that the kid doesn't have to leave. The dad chooses not to stay at the house during the sleepover. So like these little girls know, their mothers, dads know that when they sending their daughters over here for this sleepover, there's not going to be any male presence in the house, as far as to make them less uncomfortable about something potentially. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think I like that though.
Why?
Because I know me. You know what I'm saying? Because I know me. So it's like the idea of me leaving is that I'm making somebody else comfortable because they think I might fuck their kids.
Well, but it isn't anything personal to you. It's for the niggas that would actually try to fuck their kids. Like, it's because you don't know who that person is until they present themselves. Like, you know how many times people have thought, like, Gary was the greatest person ever. I can't believe Gary was like, you don't know.
I just wouldn't have sleepovers at my house then if I had to leave. Unless we were balling and had multiple properties and I could just go do, my thing. Or if I was in a non-monogamous relationship and, I could just go with another partner or something like that.
Some people don't do sleepovers at their house. Like, sleepovers is just real, you know. And then like I would be a whole lot less likely to let my daughter go if there's like teenage boys in the house. I'm not gonna tell you you got to make your sons leave, but I am gonna say I'm not comfortable with my daughter being over there. Period.
Yeah, me either.
I'm just not gonna do it. I'm sorry.
Teenage boys are menaces.
They are.
But you know what? Ain't nobody in this whole conversation talking about which one of these girls showing up to the party with the strap.
I mean, I would hope 7 or 8 year olds ain't showing up with no strap. I think when they do little like sexual shit, they touching each other. I don't think nobody showing up with full on.
No,
I would hope not.
15, 16-year-olds.
Do they have sleepovers at that age? I don't never had sleepovers. I don't know nothing about sleepovers. My dad was an alcoholic, and so I wasn't allowed to have sleepovers, and I never went to one. So I don't know really a lot about sleepovers.
No, it's different with girls and with boys, because like with girls, it's like, yeah, let's make an event out of it. We're going to have a sleepover. We're going to talk about boys and bring your journals, and it's a whole like everybody bring your special pajamas, and they just sit in a fucking kumbaya circle and just hold hands and.
I don't know if it's exactly like that.
See, toxic masculinity and patriarchy won't let us do shit like that. You know what I'm saying? We gotta be like, hey, your daddy cool if I just, crash here for the night. It can't be no plan or no shit like that. It can't be like, yeah, I'm going to go hang out with my buddy Leon tonight. Yeah, we're going to just hang out and play games. You can't be seen like that. It's just going to be more like we playing the game late. In my head, it's like, I ain't coming back home tonight. But I ain't going to ask him early. I'm just going to be like, man, it's late, man. You mind if I catch the couch? It's always no camaraderie. It ain't no communion. It's just like that I'm on the couch by myself because I don't want to be like, let's, hang out tonight and do this thing.
I don't know. Are these new kids like that?
My new campaign, patriarchy fucked up everything.
I feel like some of these new teenagers, I don't know. Like I feel like boys be like having actual sleepovers now.
We don't sleep over. We be spending the night. That's two different things. As far as I know, as far as I'm concerned, I'm spending the night at Leon House.
Like I said,
when I was younger, I remember it, but like after that, you know what? This is disgusting. But I spent the night on one of my friend's house, and I was sleeping on the floor, and a roach crawled into my mouth.
Oh nope, never would have spent the night again.
Never fucking did.
Yeah, that's traumatizing.
Fucking dead.
Yeah.
I tell you, that was some disgusting ass shit. Yeah. Oh my god.
And this wasn't even a sleepover because I would go for like the summer. Only equivalency that I have is spending the summers in Huntsville with my cousin who's the only child. So her mom won't want me to come up there. So like she has somebody to like spend time with during the summer, which she hated because she had friends already. And now she got this little cousin coming up here. She didn't really want to fuck with. But that was really my only, like I never had sleepovers. Like I never even asked to have one because again, I didn't know, I didn't want nobody to see my dad a drunk ass. So like I never even requested it because I didn't know how he was going to come home. So the last thing I want is 4 of my best girlfriends sitting up in here and this nigga come in here stumbling and shit. Who want to do that? So sleepovers weren't even on my radar. It wasn't even something that I ever thought about having.
Another thing is bringing bologna in my house. That shit dead. Ain't eat bologna in my house. My kids ain't never gonna know what the fuck bologna is unless they go to their friend's house. I don't want to see that shit. As long as I can afford a steak, there'll never be bologna in my home.
So is it just bologna or all of them like processed meats?
No, it's just bologna.
Vienna sausages. And...
You know what bologna is? Do you know why bologna got the red ring on the outside? No. It's because they take all the leftover meat and compress it in this big ass red tube, squeeze it and compress it as much as they can until it's the shape of a turd, and then they just slice off of it. Like, I understand that hot dogs and stuff. Well, hot dogs, they're better quality hot dogs these days that you can buy.
Yeah, it's but Vienna sausages, Spam.
Yeah, all that shit. But Spam's so nasty because it just plop out. It just like fall out the damn can with that fucking congealed juice on the outside. Who want that shit? You know that shit became popular during goddamn like World War II, which is why a lot of old niggas like it and why it's still on the shelf. But yeah, no bologna. Team no bologna. I eat hot dogs, and my daddy eat bologna. He be making breakfast and have bologna down there, and I'll be like, God damn it. I do want some meat, but this is bologna. But he eat beef bologna, so it's different than regular ass bologna. Anyway, that shit's crazy. That letter is daddy is crazy. Yeah. Mama crazy for staying with him. If you ready for you, like if this motherfucker was poisoned right now, and you had to slap the shit out of him and pop his mouth open so he'll survive, would daddy let the nigga die? You know what I'm saying? Is daddy going to then be forceful enough to keep his child alive? Because if he would, then why can't you see that same situation over the long term? I mean, I imagine scurvy not having enough vitamin C gonna kill you at some point or make you like the deficiency of the shit we need at some point gonna cause us issues that can kill us, right?
And the things that he needs to eat are pleasant fucking things. Like it's vitamin C, so it's like citrus shit. You know what I'm saying? Like again, they not making this little nigga eat liver. These are pleasant things to eat. He just don't want to eat them. You acting like she's trying to serve him dog shit or some shit. Like
why this boy don't like orange juice?
I don't know. Because they were doing that gentle parenting and let him have what he want. And kids, if given the opportunity, are always gonna pick unhealthy shit because that's what they do.
We're not going to equate gentle parenting with allowing your kid to do whatever they want to. That's not what that is. And you said that shit so condescending. I fuck gentle parenting, but motherfuckers do not know what gentle parenting is. No. Because there's a whole bunch of TikToks. I'll be saving them thinking I'm gonna reply to them and not. And the TikToks be like, let me try some gentle parenting. Hey son, pick up your things. And then they don't, and they be like, pick that motherfucker shit up. And then they pick it up and I'll be like, okay, motherfucker, you're doing it wrong. Gentle parenting is a culture shift in your family life. It ain't just a moment. Gentle parenting don't mean saying some nice shit to your kid in a moment. It's shifting the way you parent to a different way. Like you got to stop doing that shit and do this shit. But you can still be forceful in gentle parenting. Gentle parenting don't just mean like your own forceful personality can come out in gentle parenting. It's really just communicating with your kid more than anything. So I just want to, throw that out there. Because, motherfuckers don't. And that's different than motherfucking letting your kids do whatever they want to do. That ain't gentle parenting. That is irresponsible, permissive parenting.
Yeah, which is what she said that they were doing before. They've just let him do what he wants, and it developed into scurvy. Because
they don't know about autism then, because kids with autism need structure.
Yep.
You just let a kid do what they want to. You give them what they're going to eat. They're going to eat it. And then if you give it to them every day, they're going to eat it every day.
Yeah.
They just didn't know enough about autism going into this shit, I guess.
Which, I mean, people usually don't, because you expect to come out of the hospital with a very healthy baby.
Exactly.
That's not, nobody prepares for this, because nobody has the expectation it's going to be them till it is them.
Yeah.
Another Am I the Asshole?
Hold on. I got 3.
Okay.
Let you choose one. They all long, so I'm going to just let you choose which one.
Okay.
My wife named our son after her first love, and I had no idea.
The disrespect.
Am I the asshole for telling my girlfriend that, yes, the gym is more important to me than her and her daughter?
God damn.
Am I the asshole for making my wife think our son was missing? I'm just going to do one. You got to choose.
I feel like I've seen something this week about somebody that tried to make the parent think that the child was missing. Let's do the gym. I'm just curious as to what, because it has to be, I really want there to be some significant thing in here that makes this sound okay, because all on its own, he sounds like a dickhole.
Okay. I, 32-year-old male, have been dating my girlfriend, 29-year-old female, for about 18 months. She has the cutest little 4-year-old daughter from a previous relationship. As our relationship has progressed, I've been spending more and more time at my girlfriend's place to the point that I've all but moved in with them. This is mostly just because it's logically easier for me to go to her place since she has a kid and I don't. I work from 4:30 p.m. to 2:30 a.m. I go to bed by 4 a.m. and then wake up around noon, and then on most days head off to the gym and spend about 2 hours there total. I like to work out. It makes me feel good, keeps me healthy, and I also consider it a professional responsibility to stay in shape. Working 10-hour shifts means that I don't have a ton of time in between shifts, but that I have more days off than most working people. This was never a problem until I basically moved in with my girlfriend. Suddenly, lately, when I wake up and try to head off to the gym, she's all, "Oh, it's all about you, huh?" Or, "You only care about doing what you need to do." My daughter doesn't understand why you are leaving and why you don't want to spend time with us. The last time things came to a head, when my girlfriend started objecting to my going to the gym after I told her I'll see you and your daughter for a little bit before I go off to work, and then tomorrow I'm off and I don't have a work schedule, so we'll plan the whole day together. But I have to get my work in today. It's a priority. She then responded, "So the gym is a priority, but me and my daughter aren't? If you want to be part of this family, it's not about you anymore. So what's more important to you, the gym or us?" I responded, "Well, if you're going to force me to choose instead of making room for something that you know is important to me, then I guess I have to choose the gym." I then left. I'm sitting in my own apartment now. Things may be over. In fairness, I should note that she wasn't insisting that I never go to the gym again. She just wanted to renegotiate my schedule, but I was unwilling because I felt as if that would get in the way of my goals. Am I the asshole?
Oh Lord. I don't know. People, when you meet somebody and they're doing the thing and they've been consistently doing this thing, just because you change your mind about it at some point does not mean that it's fair for you to expect them to stop doing that thing. Now, as long as he wasn't living with her, he was doing this and it wasn't a problem. She never said anything about it. And him moving in for some reason made it feel different for her. I was ready to crucify him, less so now. She's being a bit unreasonable.
This seems like a knee-jerk response to what was going on in the moment. That was a build-up of somebody who wasn't willing to understand about the gym, right?
Yeah.
But what are they supposed to be doing in the middle of the day, I guess? Like at noon?
I don't know, because why she ain't at fucking daycare? Is she 4?
She ain't daycare, so I guess we can assume that the girlfriend and the daughter ain't working. I mean, mama ain't working, so the daughter and the girlfriend at home?
Maybe.
At least enough for it to be a problem.
But his work schedule sounds like he a police officer. So he said he also feels it's a professional responsibility. So whatever his job is requires him to be in good shape. And the work schedule and stuff just sound like he might be a police officer with the description of what his work schedule is. But regardless, this is something he was already doing. Y'all been together for 18 months. He's been doing this the time that y'all been together. And again, this is one of the main things that happen that fuck relationships. So you cannot just come in and want to change something that's already been a standard just simply because you feel differently about it. It's a conversation that can be had. But like all of that passive aggressive, "Oh, you don't care about me and my daughter. Oh, the gym is more important than us," and all of that shit did not lend to resolving this issue at all. And like I said, it's a conversation about evaluating like, oh, okay, so you live here, whatever her issues with it are, because there could be some reasons why it's different for her now that he actually lives in the home and is gone for those 2 hours or whatever. But that's a conversation that needs to be had, as opposed to just, "Oh, the gym's more important than us." And that passive aggressiveness does not work out very well, ladies.
The definition of the word priority is what needs to be focused on as well, because he was like, "I got to get my workout in today. It's a priority. It's like today it's important to me. Maybe that means I'm down and I need to be up. Maybe that means I ate bad yesterday." It can mean anything that she can inquire about why it's a priority, but she took what he represented it being important to today as, "Oh, the gym as a whole must be more important to you than me and my daughter." Right? Yeah. And it's like, the reality is, like, people in your life get to have other things that's a part of their lives outside of you. And so this make me feel like the only thing that's in her life for real is probably her daughter And
Which
she
is
probably
a
don't do nothing that represents a self-care or a taking care of herself experience. And
She needs
so
to change
that's a
that
problem. Yeah.
expeditiously.
That's not
Um,
good.
it's not good.
Oh my
And
God, T.I. Okay, keep going. Never mind.
what?
T.I.
What is that having to do with
Hmm.
anything? That was
Because
weird.
expeditiously is one of those T.I. words that he
Oh.
say all the time. So when you said that, I was like, shit. Because he was in the news for some shit this week I'll talk about. But go ahead.
Oh.
But that, that's all it
But
was.
yeah,
But redefine priority and know that your partner got some shit going on, and it's okay for them to have shit going on. God
that's a
damn, he's
conversation
just
that
going for a few hours.
yeah.
He'll be
And
back.
he's willing to like make a plan to spend the entire day the next day. Like, so it's not like he just in the gym every waking moment that he has and he like, fuck y'all. Like, this is him not being there when you want him to be. Which is a problem because you can't have, that's not how you talking about he want to be part of a family. Being a part of a family means being respectful of each other. You not doing that right now, man.
And I hate that. Like, if you want to be a part of this family, it's not about you anymore. I don't like that shit. Like, what you mean? Like, I want y'all in my life, but if you telling me I can't go to the gym ever again, fuck you. I'll find another you.
Not another you.
Motherfucker gonna make a lemonade after this shit. A lemonade album, not like his lemonade.
I can't.
Niggas can be hurt and make albums too. They do that shit all the time. These alpha male niggas trying to convince everybody that niggas is tough. Alpha male niggas are the example of how it look when niggas is emotional irrationally. Anyway, we'll come back to that too. But what's yours?
I have I'm just gonna read a couple of the titles. Am I the asshole for telling my daughter I don't regret sending her away? Am I the asshole for not waking my boyfriend, which made him late to his first day at a new job? This one just says, that's not my name. Racist boyfriend's mom. And just need to vent about my drunk husband currently sleeping on the bathroom floor.
Damn. I want to hear about the second one.
Not waking him.
Yeah.
Not waking him up for the job interview?
Yep.
Okay. Am I the asshole for not waking my boyfriend, which made him late to his very first day at a new job? This is a throwaway account for purposes of privacy. This is a 28-year-old female living with her 30-year-old boyfriend of 3 years. When I first stayed the night, he overslept. I woke him up. He woke up in a bad mood after a big fight, made it absolutely clear that I should not wake him up, even if I knew he would be late to meeting the Pope, his words. After I calmed down, I wrote a contract that said I would never wake him up under any circumstance short of an emergency as long as he never blames me for oversleeping. He laughed and signed it. I kept it with my important documents. Daughter of 2 lawyers, get everything in writing and don't sign anything unless you and your lawyer read it, are rules that I live by. Fast forward to yesterday. He just started a new job, celebrated the night before playing with some guys online. He had to wake up by 7 a.m. I woke up at 5 a.m. like usual, did all my stuff. By the time it was 7 a.m., he didn't wake up. I left the house at 8:15 a.m. and he was still asleep. When I got back, he was there and he was very angry. He started shouting and blamed me for being late, said I should have woken him when I noticed he overslept. All I did was stay silent until he stopped shouting, then showed him the paper he signed. And then I said, I never woke you up and I never will. You are an adult and you can set an alarm like the rest of us. Also, being late is a you problem and I have no part in it at all. Now he says that I am an asshole and I should know that the old rules do not apply since he no longer works for his friend that was lax with time. I still think I did nothing wrong, so am I the asshole?
Hell the fuck no. Not only are you not the asshole, but I want to be your friend. I don't know. That might get dicey because you the daughter of 2 lawyers, so ain't no telling what the hell kind of contracts you be running up for our goddamn interaction. But I mean, that situation was the epitome of communication. Not only did she communicate effectively, she made a contract for that motherfucker and he signed it. He signed it. The only thing she could have did for herself is put some money on that bitch You know what I'm saying? But when I tell you that dude is real irrational, like,
Yes.
come on, man. And that's the sign of an emotional dude, because in one moment where he don't want you to wake him up, he's willing to go to extremes to the point of saying, "Don't ever wake me up, even if it's for me being late for the Pope." You know, why would I wake you up? Because if a woman never tell me that, she not gonna get woke up. And you know what? If she would have hit me with the shit he hit her with, I'm walking out the door. I ain't coming back. I'm out. I will leave the relationship for some irrational shit like that, because it's coming back. It's coming back.
And the idea that, oh, you should have known that changed once I switched jobs, because how the fuck would it? Why would you assume that? Gets on my nerves when people assume that something that means something to you is gonna mean something to other people. That's where communication comes in. Okay, because how would she know that? I don't know why you didn't want me to wake you up. All you said was, don't wake me up. It don't matter what's going on, including if I have a meeting with the Pope. You did not say anything about, oh, because my job is so lax. You ain't said none of that shit. So how the fuck would I know that because you changed job, now you feel differently? I ain't no goddamn mind reader, my nigga. And why don't you set an alarm? What adult I got about 50 alarms set because I don't like getting up in the morning. And I know I might sleep through one. So I got a couple of set, you know.
Bro, I got the most annoying morning ringtone. And if you're a Metal Gear Solid fan, that codec that play, it just keep going and it's loud. I don't even know why Zedge got that tone so loud. It's unreasonable, but it do the job.
But yeah, he sounds like a crazy person. You should have knew that now that I didn't change jobs and I don't have a lax supervisor, then that would mean that I would need you to wake me up because it's gonna be problematic if I like nigga bye. Goodbye.
Bruh, she said that sounds like a you problem. That is exactly what it is, my boy. I hope you can recover, because I don't give a fuck.
Oh, niggas, boy. Like, why? How do you sound?
They probably white too.
Probably.
This ain't no Huxtable fucking TV show. This motherfucker got 2 lawyer parents. What are the odds of that shit in the black community these days? Motherfucker white. And working with his friend who was lax on the schedule.
Yep.
I don't know. That's white people shit.
Like, the fact that he never even bothered to set an alarm. Like, you don't give a fuck. I'm supposed to give more of a fuck than you do? You don't even set an alarm. So you're not even concerned. Because that is evidence that this is not more important to you than the other job. Because what you're saying is it didn't matter because of the job that I had, and now this job matters more. I can't tell, nigga, because you still ain't setting no fucking alarm. It ain't like you set an alarm and overslept, slept through the alarm and shit. You ain't even set an alarm. So obviously you don't give a fuck about this job just like you did in the last. What are you talking about? The fuck out of here, nigga. I'm gonna just talk about a situation I had.
Okay.
For this last one this week. That sometimes this is what when we say we have to deal with bullshit from white people on a daily basis, and white people be like, what do you mean? Y'all are just too sensitive. I had a situation where I am a very reality-based, very straightforward when it comes to me doing therapy. Okay. Like, I'm going to tell you very directly, like, my professional opinion. Okay. It isn't, I'm not a hand holder. Okay. Not who I am. And I made a statement to a client about focusing on herself and not these external things, focusing on what makes you happy, because, the things that you've been focusing on are things that you don't have any control over. And that's what's, you know, creating a lot of the frustration for you. So like, how can we focus on you? How can we focus on what you need to do in order to change the circumstances for yourself? That's exactly what I said. Okay. That's what I said. She came back and said, yeah, you know, that I needed that tough love, and you know, that really helped me change my perspective. And I really, you know, I talked to my friend about it, and I told her, you know, basically my therapist told me, girl, you need to work on you. Head movement, finger and all. And internally I was like, bitch, I did not. Why would you say? And I guarantee you, if I was a white therapist who said the same fucking thing, she would have relayed what I said to her friend in the way that I relayed it to her. But instead, it had to be sassy. Because black women are sassy. I was so like, okay.
But she liked that about you in the therapeutic experience, though.
She does.
It's like it's not in the same context as relationship fetishization, but it's like a form of fetishization that white people have with just the idea of having a black friend, a black therapist, a black somebody that they can feel like, okay, this is what it feels like to be around blackness and not be racist. This person is actually helping me. Not saying that the lady you're dealing with was racist. I'm just saying, like, the fact that you had that knowledge stored away to apply to black existence is problematic.
Like, if she said it, that's what kills me when these things happen, is they say it and you can see that they're oblivious to why this might be a problematic thing, or why this might not be okay, or why I might be like, well, why would you say it like that? I didn't say it like that to you. At no point in our professional therapeutic relationship have I done anything close to girl and snapping my fingers and moving my neck around. I ain't did none of that shit. So why, when you're relaying, and I'm glad you're enjoying the therapy. I'm glad you're telling your friends about it and normalizing therapy. I'm always happy to hear that, because then that makes other people, oh, she's going to therapy. Maybe I need to go to therapy too. Or maybe, you know, I've been thinking about it, and it normalizes it, makes it more comfortable for people to go. Okay. Appreciate that. Not saying anything about that. Glad that you enjoyed it and felt like it was beneficial and helpful. It's the way she relayed what I said. And again, I guarantee you, if I was white, one, I don't even know. Maybe she even listened to it as much as she did, because like she felt like it was coming from a girl. You just need to focus on you, honey.
Like, she hear you talking like a character Tyler Perry done wrote. Goddamn, that's how she hear you when y'all talking. You know, we do shit like that too. You know, except we do it so respectfully, because it ain't really that much shit to really ping white people on that's bad. Yeah. Like when I do my white voice, I talk about parsnips and Brussels sprouts and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? We talk about white people don't have rhythm, they can't dance and stuff, but like, we really don't have nothing that represents an overtly negative stereotype.
Yeah.
Like they do for everybody else. Like everybody else.
And I mean, you know, I take this with a grain of salt. You know, I take it and I move on, because that's what. So my point for white people is that this is the black experience. It's like, it's instances of shit like this that you deal with that you just have to eat. You just eat it. There's nothing you can do about it. It's like when I worked at the last place and the lady called me a Negro. I am 37 years old. Okay, I never thought that I would ever be called a Negro by a white person, but there it was. It happened. I was addressed as a Negro. So, I mean, it's those things that happen. Like I said, it happens and you just eat it. But over time, that shit becomes annoying. That shit becomes where, like, why the fuck can't I just live? Can I not just do my job and give very good therapeutic professional advice and not have it become this colorful collection of colored girl sayings. Like, that's not what happens. Why would you tell her that? Why would you say that? But again, obliviousness in her face. She was just excited to tell me that, like, she wanted me to know that she felt like I was really helping her. And this was her way of relaying that to me. And again, I get it. And I'm glad she's talking about coming, and I'm glad she's enjoying it. And I'm glad that it's being helpful. All of those things. But also in that moment, I was just like, bitch, that's not what I said to you. Why would you color it up like that? Like, you couldn't just tell her what I told you. You couldn't just tell her that now I'm going to be focusing in on me because that's something that I do have control over, and I can't control these external situations. Because that's what I said. But no, it had to be sassy because it came from the black girl. So we had to sass it up real good so that she may. And if her friend didn't know that I was black, I'm sure she was like, oh, she must be a Negro. You know, they're just really colorful that way.
That's a goddamn shame.
It's just those little things, you know, that people deal with every day that, again, you just eat them. I wasn't going to call her out on it. You know, it wasn't something that we were going to need, like, we need to have conversation. It wasn't anything like that. You just eat these situations. You just eat them. And you move on.
You know, we got to calculate how we move around this motherfucker. Like, you don't even know how fragile she would have been if you'd have addressed that shit.
True.
No, she was gonna be like, no, it has nothing to do with your brain. Yeah. It's not having anything to do with you being black. You just, you know, that's just how I do. I do, you know, sassy head bob things, you know. But, you know,
yeah,
gotta figure out how to navigate this place.
You do. But it's frustrating when I go out of my way to be as professional because I know that is how we are viewed. And so I work hard and then it just feels like it's for naught. Because regardless of how professional I present the things that I say, and no matter how much I make sure to be articulate in discussing these things, I'm still heard saying, you go, girl. You can't get away from it. It don't even matter what you say. It's still heard as that. So. Yeah,
I mean, you know, I'm sure it's the same for white men. I've had good experiences with white clients. I hadn't had anything racist really at the beginning. I opened up my relationships with white clients in terms of, look, we two different cultures. If you have a question about mine, let me know, because if I have a question about yours, I'm definitely going to ask. Because because you still can't generalize a white person's experience to every white person. Yeah. You know, they all have white privilege, you know, so you can mass apply some things to white culture, but like at the end of the day, some of these motherfuckers are struggling like me and you.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and I think it's easy, especially when you ain't doing work where you end up having to work with a white person. It's real easy to lose that idea or not have to focus on it and just look at white people through the whole lens of the bullshit, which they perpetuate often.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know, that could take us into the conversation about like intent versus impact, you know, in terms of she didn't mean nothing by it. She probably don't know that she did something wrong, but
she absolutely doesn't know.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But if the impact was big enough, then, you know, maybe that'll be, you have to respond to it differently.
Yeah. I mean, again,
like if you told her that, you know, you probably should be wary of the relationship that you're in, because it looked like it could be toxic. And if she was like, I told my girlfriend that you told me don't trust no nigga, no. That should be different.
You would have to, yes.
Kaya.
It would be very different.
We were having sexual issues and she told me, my neck, my back, girl. Look at all. If she was on that shit. Ma'am, you better start quoting Queen and Journey. What the hell are you talking about? Don't be quoting black folks. If you ain't quoting this shit at the table with your damn folks for Thanksgiving, don't quote that shit in here. If you ain't bobbing your head at Thanksgiving when you talking with your family, don't do that shit in here. Be yourself. Don't be adjusting yourself to the black experience, because who you really trying to make comfortable? You know what I'm saying?
Well, see, in that instance, it wasn't even being comfortable because I know she was talking to another white person.
Do you think it was subconscious?
Probably.
Man.
Because I'm
saying the comfort in the room with you by telling you that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but it doesn't make me comfortable. It makes me
I know it don't make you comfortable, but who is the comfort really for? I think the comfort is for her. I think that she feels more comfortable knowing that she believes that you feel like you're closer to her by doing things that she perceives as black. Because she think that she has to think that it's endearing to you. She has to think that you're like, oh, she knows how we are. But like the way that white people believe black people are is so stereotypical, and so and so outside of the realm of what they can practice it's so mechanical. It's like bringing hot Cheetos to the session and just holding them up to the screen like, I got some hot Cheetos. Because if you don't know nothing about hot Cheetos, black girls in high school, half of them got a bag of hot Cheetos there with them. That's just working in the high schools. When I had a young black female client. She had a bag of fucking hot Cheetos every goddamn day. You know, but like it'd be stereotypical shit.
Yeah. No. I mean, again, it's just one of those things that you eat. It doesn't make me not want to work with her anymore or anything, but it is in those moments, it just make you be like, oh, that's very white of you. Why would you do that? But okay, girl.
Or she come to the session and be like, girl, let me take this bonnet off. Your ass don't need no goddamn bonnet.
No, she definitely does not need a bonnet. But that's the thing in session,
loose leaf ass hair.
It never comes up. Like I said, she never tries to like say little things to try to make it never happens. So this literally only happened in the context of her relaying this information to her friend. Like I said, I feel like that was to make sure her friend knew that, well, my therapist is black.
Well, I'm gonna tell you my professional experience with this, right? Because clearly it wasn't a client, but it was another professional. Bradford, is the drug rehab place down there, right? So I was on the drug court team with the judge of Shelby County and this guy who was over, Bradford. He was the director. And it was juvenile drug court. So we would sit back in a room and talk about the consequences for the kids. And then we would go out and the kids would walk up, stand in front of the judge, say their piece, and the judge would make decisions based off of like what we said in the room, but also managing what the kid has going on, if they're doing better or what the kids say. And we just sitting there looking at the kids, and this is the first time he sat next to me. He just leaned over to me and be like, I voted for Ben Carson. I'm like, what the fuck? Do I give a fuck about who you voted for? Why did you even vote for Ben Carson? Because that motherfucker wasn't on no ticket. Your vote for Ben Carson was just because you didn't like who else it was to vote for.
And Ben Carson's not even a black person that we fuck with. You not with it on points.
We're going to have that conversation today, too. We got a lot of conversation to have.
You win points because he black. There are black people we don't fuck with. There are black people that you can mention that we would still side eye you like, bitch, what? You did what? Why? Wow. Just, especially in professional settings, I just don't feel like you should just be professional, my nigga. Like, that's it.
But I think that speaks to the psyche of white people that think they're good and decent. It's kind of like, I don't like when men be like, I'm a good guy, I'm a nice guy, because it don't mean that you're a nice guy. You're not. You know what I'm saying? Like, for so many ways, and we can have a conversation about that. But it's kind of like white people saying, I'm a good white person, type situation. It's like the psyche of what they're trying to do in that moment is to make sure that I know that something about them is connected to the Black experience. Like, they want me to be comfortable with the fact that they did something related to Black, you know. And I'm not saying it's the same for your client, because that could very well have been subconscious. But just know, Black folks doing that shit all the time. I mean, white folks doing that shit to Black folks all the time.
Yeah. But again, I just brought it up because, like, I know, again, white people, like, they don't understand. But it is a day-to-day thing. It's not like huge things. Like, nobody comes up to me and says, nigger, every day. That don't happen. But there are still instances throughout the day where I'm just like, come on, white people. Please.
I don't think it's going to go away. White people are so uninformed about the Black experience because they don't have to be. I think they're learning a lot right now. Shout out to Cole Jackson and Shogun for the podcast, Government Name podcast. But, you know, we were having that conversation about, like, what defines Black culture. And, you know, I think that, like, when me and you see chopsticks, we can think Asian. Or when we see a dream catcher, we can think Native American, you know. Or we see hijab, we can think Indian culture. There's nothing that you could hold up that another culture will look at and think Black culture, you know. And Shogun said a hot comb, and I was like, I don't think so. I think only Black folks know what a hot comb is, or the Black culture, or people that grew up with Black, like a small subset of white people to know what the hot comb mean. But, like, if you hold that up, nobody gonna be like Black. Like, what can we hold up for the Black community that would represent Black culture that everybody would know?
Bonnets?
Bonnets? Everybody don't know that. Everybody don't know that because it was a TikTok, a viral TikTok of this. I don't want to say Pakistan. No, it was an Asian boy, because he was using this thing called a pike. He was calling a pike, but it was like a beanie to keep his hair down, because he said Asian hair is very pointy and sticky. And so the only way we can really keep it down is to perm it and lay it down. But I don't know what else to use for that. And everybody in the comments told him, well, he asked, could he use a do-rag, or would that be culturally appropriating? And a bunch of people said, yeah, use a do-rag. A lot of people said, but other people put him on satin wraps. He said, look, I didn't know nothing like satin wraps and bonnets existed. You know, like,
he knew what a do-rag was, so this do-rag not
one of those things?
Yeah.
No, because so there's another part to this dialogue too, is everybody, I feel like, have to accept that thing in that culture too. Like, everybody in Asia would be like, yeah, we use chopsticks. You know what I'm saying? Everybody in Native American, like, yeah, but like do-rag, you like, old niggas ain't gonna be like, yeah, give me a do-rag. You know, the whole Black culture. But, you know, that, I think that's just much, much bigger, harder conversation to have, because the work that slavery did on us, I think, keep us from having a totem or a symbol of our culture like other people have, because we don't have tradition. We just got white people tradition, which ain't really tradition, because they just steal tradition from other folk. Like, white people as white, not like as other cultures like Scottish or Irish. Them niggas got traditions, but like white people, white ain't nothing. White ain't a race. It's just like a category. A category can't have a culture, can it? Anyway, yeah.
You ready to go to the stories?
Yep. I'm gonna start on the real nigga shit that's going on, which is the Ukraine and the Russia situation.
Okay.
I guess I'm just gonna give a quick rundown of my understanding of what's happening, or at least what I believe is going on. Clearly, Russia and Ukraine were both a part of the Soviet Union at some point, right? And once the Soviet Union broke up, Ukraine wanted their own independence. They said, hey, we want to be independent. There is something that Putin said in one of his recent interviews that sets a very bad precedent for what comes forward. Like, it would be one thing if Putin said, we don't respect Ukrainians' independence, you know, or we need resources from Ukraine, or Ukraine has been leeching off of us, or like what he said earlier is that, you know, we don't want NATO to transition over to Ukraine because now we no longer have a buffer for the other NATO unions, which is true. But he referred to Ukraine as ancient Russia lands. That sets a bad precedent for the reasons that Putin is trying to occupy Ukraine, because he's setting it up based on the idea that Ukraine has always belonged to Russia, which begs the question, is there something that could stop him and the regime that he's under from trying to occupy that space? But, and I ain't going to be on this for too long. I'm just going to say that Russia has always wanted to reacquire Ukraine after the Soviet Union shit. This ain't new. And they always be occupying shit. You know, they invaded Georgia, you know, some years back. And I think that it was a matter of time that they did this, and they got close to NATO being signed by Ukraine and Ukraine joining for them to make this move. But the reality is, this shit ain't going the way Russia wanted it to go. This shit is not going the way Russia wanted it to go. Also, the president, Ukrainian president, that he gonna go down in the history books for a motherfucker with big balls. Because I don't know if you know about him, but he used to be a comedian turned president.
What?
Yeah, he's a comedian turned president.
Does
so he's always
comedian mean the same thing over there as a
nigga that make people laugh. It ain't like the comedian from The Watchmen. That nigga wasn't funny at all. He was just murderous. You know what I'm saying? But it's like an actual comedian. He went from comedian to a president, which, you know, gave him all kinds of support. Same shit it did for Reagan. Same shit it did for Arnold Schwarzenegger. Same thing it did for Trump. When you already populating the community, you got a following. But like, they offered this man a ride out because they were trying to have him evacuate. He was like, no, I ain't going nowhere. I don't need a damn ride. I need some ammunition. You know what I'm saying? So like, if you look at his videos, the charisma that he have and the support that he is willing to put on the Ukrainian people, I think is giving them such a boost of confidence. But not only is it giving them a boost of confidence, but is creating a lot of controversy in Russia from a lot of people that are opposing the war in Russia, to the point that Putin has disabled Twitter in Russia now, because so much support are coming from seeing what's happening in Ukraine. Like, a video just came out yesterday about this tank that swerved to hit a civilian car. It swerved over just to hit a civilian car that was trying to get around the tank, which equals war crimes. Like, you just can't be a military going in killing civilians on purpose. You know, now they got the man out of the car. From everything we know now, it seemed to be okay. But like, this shit, war crimes is something that would be what leads other people to help. But also, another thing that leads people to help is the idea that the other side may have an opportunity to win. So a lot of people are now denying Russia help and are supporting Ukraine, because it's starting to look like Ukraine might have it together. Russia's strategy was literally like, run up on them niggas. But the niggas you running up on has such a solid plan of being run up on that, like, you getting popped on not knowing what was finna happen. Russia's over, like, it's been plenty of times in history where you see overwhelming force still not being as effective as a small, well put together plan. If you want to know what that shit looked like, go research Shaka Zulu and the Britons that invaded Africa. A small ass group of the Shaka Zulu tribe killed so many more people than they had access to because their strategy was sound. Another question, I was like, would nuclear war happen? And this dude that I follow on YouTube, he making good points about this, but he said that there are a lot of ways to, opposed to back during the Cold War, there are a lot more ways to disrupt countries that are not as destructive as a nuclear war or a nuclear weapon. You know, so if it's like, if I want y'all out of my business, there's ways to do that without being destructive as a nuclear warhead. A lot of shit got to go wrong these days for a nuclear warhead. Like, they can plan a cyber attack and mess up your infrastructure to the point where, like, you really can't communicate the way you need to, and so that might buy the other side time. Like, it's so many things that countries can do without just hitting that button for the nuclear war. But anyway, I just wanted to throw some of my thoughts out about this. What else? Oh, it's a lot of propaganda going on out here.
Did you see the old lady?
Oh yeah,
Grandma?
Yeah, I saw that
The
story.
sunflower seeds.
Yeah, listen, when you be watching movies and shit, and motherfuckers, the toughest motherfuckers always be like Russians and Ukrainians.
Yeah.
They always be the tough. Like, an old Ukrainian motherfucker in a movie or a Russian woman gonna have the best line in the movie. Like, they gonna say or do some bad shit. And I mean, I hate to be saying that in terms of like, I'm big up in Russia in terms of how tough they be. We all know they be tough. You know what I'm saying? We that's just where they come from. They come from a tough environment. And I just hate that. I love living in America because I don't know what the turmoil of living in a third world country look like. Because like watching TikToks of what's going on in Ukraine, it's people just literally looking out the window with their phone in their hand shaking, and you just see something come from the sky and just boom, and then everybody crying and just like getting away, and just like, imagine living through that shit, bro. We have America, what we are as Americans, we are the kid that went to the playground that had the football equipment on. That because of how sheltered and shielded we've been from the turmoil that people really experience, we were shielded from it. But now we don't even know how to take it. Like, that kid don't know how to fall right now. As soon as he don't have that shit on and he fall, he gonna break both his arms at the same time. And then we just not psychologically prepared for the idea of somebody invading us. Look how we did COVID. You know what I'm saying? Like, none of us have had like a war go on where somebody tried to invade our country. I don't even know where they would invade. Like, if somebody came here, where the fuck would they even invade? Would they go straight to Washington, D.C., or would they go make an example out of another city? Would they have to go somewhere off the coast, or would they not even like come here? Would they just like send a missile to an area and just blow up some shit and be like, hey, we did this?
But ain't that what 9/11 was?
Yeah, but 9/11 had to be sneakier, because I don't know if it's really easy for somebody to just come to the border and attack. I don't know if it's easy for somebody to. Them motherfuckers had to train for years to learn how to fly planes. Like, that's how sneaky they had to be. They had to infiltrate the American system in order to be able to fly planes, and they had to get passports and do shit where they could be on a plane and hijack the motherfucker. You know. Cause they flew exactly into what they was planning to fly into. Like, they became good ass pilots, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, we don't really have most of the borders that we have is water. Like, they would have to attack by water, because unless you come up from Mexico or Canada, which Canada is not finna do none shit like that. We're not in the middle of a big landmass like Europe. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't have that. So like, any main attacks will have to be through air or by water, unless, again, we're only bordered by Mexico and Canada, and then water everywhere else. So it wouldn't even be. We don't really. I don't know. We're not bordered on all sides by land like that.
Yeah.
So that might make it more difficult too.
You know, in Hawaii, they got something called the Pearl Harbor golf ball. It's basically like a big ass radar ship. It's just a round big ass ship that, like, I guess floats off the coast. So I don't even think that enough ships that was trying to come to a coast, if it looked like they was finna be on some bullshit, I don't think they would even make it, because like, our radar detection system is so significant that we would see that shit coming anyway. Like, we see that shit coming and stop that shit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, because we're not landlocked
like
that. I mean, I think that makes it more difficult than if we were like Ukraine, covered by land.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay, that's my first story. You can go to the next one, because I'm informing niggas today. And I really don't think I informed anybody. I just spewed out some of my thoughts about Ukraine and Russia. But if y'all know more about that shit, let me know. Send the email.
Oh, you want me to do one?
Yeah.
Oh,
You want me to keep going?
I thought you said you were.
I just said I'm educating niggas today, not
I just
necessarily
want to
back to
talk
back to back.
about Kiki Wyatt.
Okay.
I don't. Yeah, when you hear men who got a bunch of children, you know that man, all he did in creating those children was fuck a bunch of people. So like if I hear a man that's got 11 kids, I'm just like, he was really out here fucking. Because really, beyond the act, men don't really have much else to do. Like if you're an involved father, obviously you're there and you're helping her. But like physically, fucking is really all y'all do. Kiki Wyatt said is pregnant with her 11th child. And the significance of this is that she's been pregnant with 11. This isn't her like just going out fucking and getting somebody pregnant. She's been pregnant.
What's the point of the first part of the dialogue about how little men have to do?
Because when I see, it's not as impressive. It's not as impressive. If I see a man with 11 kids, I'm like, okay, he fucked and made 11 kids. A woman with 11 kids, like our grandparents, great grandparents, when they was having 18, 19 kids, I'm always like, your vagina did that? Your vagina and uterus and your organs and all of that shit went through that shit 18 times?
Kiki Wyatt don't have no sets of twins.
I think she maybe has one set of twins. And I think the others have been single births. It's hard to tell in this picture with all these children. I think maybe she had a set of twins. The rest of these look like they're staggered enough in age that they were singles. That's a lot.
It's it's a lot when you got to refer to kids as singles like they dollar bills. They are all singles.
It's just like I said, the point of the first part was just that men don't, again, in creating a baby, fucking is like the physical part for y'all. You do a lot of emotional and stuff, like helping her out on the back end while she's doing the rest of it. But she didn't went through this, let's just say 9 times. That's a lot. And she said that she not gonna say this her last one. She open to doing this shit again. And I'm just like,
how much do you think the body changed after you have like a certain amount of kids? You think they slide out like a damn water slide at this point?
I mean, it depends because after women give birth, they can do the get that what they call it I don't think they call it this anymore. They used to call it the husband stitch. Well, basically they stitch the shit up to make sure it's not, because sometimes women tear when they give birth. I don't know how many vaginal births.
It's a high percentage of women that meet between their anus and their vagina tear. Yeah.
Yeah. So they get the stitch to make sure all of that, heals up the way that it's supposed to. So it's like close to what it was. I don't know how many vaginal to C-section births, cesareans that she's had. I don't know, but that's just like, think about all the changes that about, like, we think about the birth, and the actual like delivering of the baby, but like women's organs and shit get moved around and shit to make room for that baby. Like your whole insides, every time you get pregnant and have a baby, get fucking rearranged. Okay.
But that's still healthier than waist training. Just so you know. Waist training compress all your shit and make it real small and tight for your organs. So
but waist training, bitches that do that for a specific purpose, and once they achieve that body that they want, do they continue? I don't know. This is years.
I don't see why you would stop. I don't know why you would stop. If waist training get you the way you want to be and you're gonna continue to waist train. You're not gonna stop. So tell me this: is something wrong with it?
Is something wrong with her having 11 kids?
Yeah.
Long as she can take care of them, no. Now, well, I take that back. Okay, here's my thing about a bunch of children. even if you can financially take care of 11 kids, which she obviously can. I forgot what this current man she's with does, but like, you know, emotionally, I just don't see how you, and a lot of these are like kids, like, you know, like maybe 6, 7, 8. Some of them look like they in that range. It is very, with two parents in the house, even with nannies and stuff like that, that parental bond that you have, and like, think about like how kids like for their parents to come to their stuff, or like be that you're only able to spread yourself so much. So I do think in that way, kids that are born to like big families like that, they do kind of get the short end of the stick as it pertains to like parental attention, and because you can't, like, even doing the best that you absolutely can, it's only so much you're gonna be able to do with 11 fucking kids in the house. Or I mean, at this point, let's say 2 of them, so 9 kids. Because I mean, I think she's been doing this long enough that at least maybe 2 of them might be of like 18, 19, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
You can only spread yourself so out so much. So that emotional you can, I mean, how do you account for that? Money ain't gonna account for that, because even if you can get, you know, nannies and shit, that ain't you. You're not their parent. That's not their parent. So yeah. I feel, you know, because I feel the same way about like the Mormons that had them large ass families. Because look at, again, you just can't, it's very difficult to maintain and control a household that large. So you had the Duggars with one of the boys sexually assaulting some of the younger children, because you just cannot keep up. At 19 kids, 2 parents, you outnumbered. So in that way, I think that kids kind of get the short end of the stick. Like, even if you can financially support those kids, emotionally, it just ain't enough for you to go around.
Yeah, I agree there.
So, I mean, God bless her. You know, I don't know why anybody would want to do that in the year of our Lord 2022. Just because, not even financially. Just think about all the stuff kids have to deal with now, that you have to help them deal with now. Who the fuck want to do that 11 times? The fuck out of here.
COVID.
It's just so much going on in the world. Like, why would, I don't know. And like, that's now, you know, she
you know, there are women,
another 18 years.
You know, there are women who really like the idea of being pregnant and like being pregnant. And it's like, It seems like maybe she's one of those women.
Yeah.
You know, or like maybe she had some kind of childhood trauma and made her want a really big family.
Like
and she can't turn the trauma off now.
I think she can financially support them in the same way that the Duggars and like the Mormon, they usually can finance, but like the individual attention that a child requires in order to be successful, you are not going to be able to do that with a household that big. It's just not possible. It's just not possible. And even if you ascribe to the it takes a village, the village ain't your parents. Like, that's supposed to be to supplement. It is not supposed to be to replace, because your parent got too many other kids and can't be there. It's not meant to replace. It's meant to supplement, right? So like, again, having that many kids, you just can't do what you need to do for the kids. You can't. It's not possible. So yeah. That's the only reason I'm like, don't think it's a great idea, but it's not my vagina or my pocketbook.
Okay, Supreme Court. You know what's going on with the Supreme Court?
I do. How do you pronounce? I haven't been wanting to say her name. Okay, I didn't want to say it wrong.
When I tell you that's all I need to know about her, that's it. Now, this is the thing, and this is another one of them things that I don't think white people understand. There's these different versions of black people, right? And when Joe Biden said he was going to nominate a black woman, in my head, I was like, how we know we're not going to get another Clarence Thomas on the court? Like, how does he know? Now, I know he got black advisors that was pretty much going to be like, look, have you seen Django? You remember Samuel Jackson character? We don't need that. You don't need that, brother. You know what I'm saying? But like, I wish I knew how it's been communicated to white people the difference between these. I don't like using the term coons, but y'all know what coon is. Uncle Tom is the version of a black person that tries so deeply to cater to white. You know, I guess their assimilation went wrong. Their assimilation went extreme. It's like we're assimilating, so black people would expect to assimilate the white culture. And I think a lot of us assimilated as much as we could to maintain our blackness. But then I think there's a group of people who that shit was miscalibrated inappropriately. Like Candace Owens, she clearly started off black. And then when her assimilation started, that shit went wrong. It like the red lights was flashing. Oh, well, turn it off, turn it off. I can't turn it off, sir. It's not. She's gonna be all the way fucking teen white people. Like I feel like that kind of happens with people. But like Ketanji Brown, this is the one who was nominated to take Justice Breyer's place. So I'm just going to run down who she is and what some issues may be that Republicans will probably bring up during this hearing, which I don't give a fuck what you say. If they let goddamn Brett, what's his name? I can't remember his name. The dude that sexually assaulted people. They let that man on the Supreme Court. Brett Kavanaugh. They let Kavanaugh on the Supreme Court. Ain't no way you finna not let Ketanji Brown on the Supreme Court. If you don't, then it's just really because she's the wrong kind of black for you. Because y'all motherfuckers love talking about some Clarence Thomas and Thomas Sowell. Anyway, she is Harvard educated. Her thesis was about the plea bargaining system and the coercion of the criminal defendant. Her uncle was sentenced to life for a nonviolent drug-related crime and while she was in college, as well as her family being law enforcement. Now, Republicans probably gonna bring that shit up. They're probably going to use that as a rhetoric for why she may be softer on crime or whatever. But again, the job of the Supreme Court ain't to fucking sentence nobody. It's to interpret the Constitution. So that'll be a weak point. She protested in college against the Confederate flag that was visible through another college student's window. No, they're gonna bring that shit up because motherfuckers be on that Confederate flag shit. So what does that mean?
Get a goddamn Confederate flag,
bro. That shit need to go to hell. She became a reporter for the Times as a journalist. She went back to law school. She edited the Harvard Law Review. She started a clerkship. Did 2 years of private practice and went back into a clerkship. And she clerked for the justice that she will be taking the place of.
Well, shit.
Exactly. So like you already know that her politics are likely going to align with his. She eventually became a public defender. She became the head of the sentencing commission, became a district court judge and an appellate court judge. Like she has so much experience. But already know the deal with black folks. We got to have 2 to 3 times as much as experience and expertise than a mediocre white man or white woman have to have. So they're going to try to do something to upend it. Now, I think personally, if Republicans were smart, knowing that the courts are already stacked in their favor and knowing that it'll only be a liberal substituted for a liberal, I think that it would benefit them to pretend like they was okay with it, let it be an easy run through, and put Democrats off their game, you know what I'm saying? Because they're like, oh, these Republicans are ready to work together because, Democrats be that fucking optimistic. All while the Republicans got a knife behind their back that's ready to shank you up. It ain't even a knife for real. It's like it's a shield. It's like a toothbrush with a nail on the end of it. It's some prison shit. Like that's how Republicans run this motherfucker. Like a jailhouse. But I just wanted to talk about Ketanji Brown because her name is Ketanji. That's a black ass name. She is a black ass woman who is more than qualified to be the next Supreme Court justice. And I'm really, really looking forward to seeing how they try to invalidate that for her. But yeah, that's all on Ketanji Brown. Oh, some rulings that she made. She did make some rulings. She ruled against grant ending programs that was meant to end teenage pregnancy. She voted to stop a fast track deportation, and she ruled in favor of unions against Trump. So they probably use some of that stuff against her. in this dialogue, but I'm interested in how creative they become through this process. What you got?
And just very briefly, because I'm really fucking tired of this. So Kanye West went on the whole media blitz and on Twitter fingers got him in trouble, said a bunch of shit. Now he has submitted a request for his social media stuff to be inadmissible in the divorce proceedings. My nigga, bye. Bye. Not how that's gonna work. First of all, you actually posted a post where you wrote, my account has not been hacked. I'm the one posting it. Like, you literally did. So under what grounds? Because normally it's like, it's hearsay. You don't know if he said in one of the posts that he posted it. He wanted the world to know that, like, no, this me saying this shit and I mean it. Now because you know it makes you look bad. It makes you look like what you are. Now it's like, oh, I don't think that should be admissible. That ain't got nothing to do with this divorce. It has everything to do with the divorce. And that's what you get. This is the same thing. You can say what you want. You know, you do have freedom of speech. He has freedom of speech. And we've talked about this on the show umpteen times. Freedom of speech is not freedom of consequence, okay? You can say whatever the fuck you want to, but there are consequences that come from that. Period. You know, it's like all of these people, these white people who get recorded doing all of this Becky kind of shit, this Karen shit that get fired, they have the freedom of speech to do what they want to, and companies have a right to say, oh, we don't want you representing us. Bye.
Yeah.
And you got out here and showed your whole ass for weeks. All I kept seeing is fucking shit about you on Twitter, not Twitter, on Instagram, posting shit, Kanye. And now because you know it's gonna make you look bad, now you want to say, well, that shouldn't be, it shouldn't be admitted. Nigga, bye. I hope it's all admitted. I hope that this is one of those situations, because I get so tired. I get so tired of people talking about Kanye and then people being like, but he's a musical genius. But his musical, I don't give a fuck at this point. I don't even listen to Kanye music no more. I don't give a fuck. I didn't listen to Donda. I don't give a fuck about Donda. I don't care about his music. There are things that people can do as humans. And this is just the unfortunate part about social media. In the 90s, the 80s, we didn't know nothing about celebrity lives because we didn't have the internet to give you all of their fuck shit in real time. But unfortunately, now we do. Okay? And there are things that you can do as a celebrity that would make me not fuck with you no more. And Kanye crossed that line a long time ago. So I don't even know nothing about no more music that he done made. I ain't watched that fucking documentary on Amazon. I don't give a fuck. I don't care. Because regardless of whether or not he's good at making music, he's a shit ass person. And I'm tired. I don't care. I don't want to give him no more nothing. So I don't care about his clothing. I don't care about his music. I don't care about none of that. You know, you can be a very smart person who's a dick, and that makes me not give a fuck about whatever you create. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If Adolf Hitler, and I hate to, that's such an extreme, but it's just, this is how extreme I feel about it. Okay, for me, it's like saying, well, Adolf Hitler had them beats though. Like, he was a fucking terrible person. No, give a fuck about his music. Don't care. So at this point, I'm tired of Kanye and this whole shit. And I'll be glad when the divorce is over. I don't know that it's going to end at that point because he's still going to be doing his narcissist shit that he does. But I'm just tired.
He going to get his ass arrested. That's what's going to happen on that bullshit. Like, you buying a house next to your ex. No. That's not good. In no way is that good.
He's nuts. Like, I'm tired. And like I said, I keep seeing people like, oh, that documentary shows this, and that. Okay. Again, there is a point at which I will not give a fuck about nothing, nobody. Like, I don't care. Okay. R. Kelly could come out with the most fire R&B song right now, and I wouldn't give a fuck because he has become a disgusting human at this point. Don't care nothing about his music. I don't. I'm sorry. That's not something that I can overlook because he made a good song. And because y'all think Kanye is a musical genius, I don't give a fuck about that. I really don't. And a musical genius is debatable. I really have not enjoyed his music probably since 808 Heartbreak. I don't know. It's been a long time since I gave a fuck about his music, to the point where, again, I don't even feel like I'm missing out on nothing by not listening to this shit, because like it's too much. I'm over it. I feel about him how I feel about the Kardashians. Like, he on that level now. I'm like, shut the fuck up. I don't care.
Yeah. Do you know T.I. been doing comedy for like the last month?
What?
T.I. has been doing stand-up comedy.
Have you watched any of it?
I heard some clips on the Breakfast Club. I didn't like the clips.
He don't really strike me as a comedian.
So what happened was Godfrey, comedy has a very particular type of culture. And when you're a headliner, people don't go after you. You finish the show and then that's it. The show over.
Yeah.
Godfrey was headlining at a club and T.I. came and wanted to go up after Godfrey. And the club owner said yes. And so T.I. went up after him. And Godfrey on his podcast was saying, hey, you know, I didn't watch T.I. because, you know, I don't watch people that's not better at that thing that I do, you know, than me. And so I just don't watch no performers after or before me. But he shouldn't have come up after. He said it was his city, so he said cool. But like the culture of comedy say, we don't go up there after somebody. That's when you're selling your merchandise and engaging with fans. But like if the fans are watching you, they can't do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so he invited T.I. on the show. Well, T.I. gave his little response. And he invited T.I. to the show. T.I. was so fucking mean, you know, in his response. I'm not a big
He has
T.I.
that Napoleon complex. He's just
he said all that comedy shit, all them rules that you say apply to people in the comedy game, I'm the exception to those rules.
Of course.
And I was like, bro, this shit ain't gonna work out for him in other cities. Like in Cali, where they really fuck with the comedian there in Cali.
There's a reason why there's not crossover in the comedy like that. You know, like you'll have comedians, like you have Kevin Hart who now does movies. Like you'll have comedians that go on to do other stuff. You'll have actors that may get singing careers or singers that become actors, but you do not see a whole lot of people just crossing over into comedy. Comedy is a very specific skill, especially stand-up. Like being able to be funny in a movie by saying the lines that you're given in a funny way, or like being able to convey it, is not the same thing as standing in front of a group of people delivering a routine. Comedy is not something that you could just cross over into, I don't think. And T.I. of all fucking people, nothing funny about him. Ever.
He might be funny.
So what?
He might be funny. I just ain't seen his shit. You know, I'm gonna give him credit until I can see it at least.
It's T.I.
But go check out the interview because it was like he was going hard at Godfrey, and Godfrey just ate it up. One thing I guess I can get with on T.I. is that Godfrey was laughing it up with T.I., you know, giving him dabs, got pictures with him and everything. He said they hung out, and T.I.'s issue was like, if you had a problem with me coming up after you headline, then say it to my face. Like, tell me, hey, bro, I know you new to the comedy game. You know,
reasonable.
People don't normally come up after headliners, you know, but don't key it up with me. And then on your podcast the next day, come out and talk about, you know, this, that. And Godfrey kept trying to say, no, see, they was trying to twist my words. So, you know, he said, I heard your words come out of your mouth. I'm talking about what I heard you say. I ain't talking about what nobody else said that I heard, you know, because Godfrey did come off really harsh with what he was saying, but I don't think he was saying it in reference to T.I. specifically. I think he was saying it in reference to new comedians. And I think that, you know, I guess the bill can fit if T.I. wanted to fit, but the way it sounded like he was really not validating T.I.'s place in comedy, and it sounded like that's how T.I. took it. You know, like, and he said, if you had come to my show, you know that I tell people that I'm not a comedian. I'm a superstar, you know, and I'm telling my story. And that's that arrogance that I don't like. That's why I've never been able to get along with T.I. That's what I've never been able to get along with T.I. You know, but He's trying to make discernments as to why I can do this thing and I don't have to put in the work and I don't have to do the stuff that y'all did to build this up.
No,
He's just making discernment so that that can be the case.
it's
And so where I get with Godfrey is that like there are, and in the conversation was about like a lot of comedians got to grind and hustle and bustle to get where they at, and what he said that sounds like a damn problem. You know what I'm saying? If they too goddamn um if they ain't good enough to make it, you know what I'm saying, then what they got to do with me? Coming up how I came up. He said, if y'all would have asked me how I came up, he said I've been doing like every single night. I've been doing shows for a month, and I'm like, I mean, a month ain't real. Like, if you can't see why people who've been doing this for 20 years may look at you and be like, okay, is this rich ass dude just toying with the shit that we do for a living? Or is he really out here doing, like, if you're not giving room for those people to be skeptical of what's happening, then you're disillusioned and far too arrogant for what's going on.
like I said, there's a reason that you do not see the crossover like you see in other genres of entertainment. Like I said, you'll see singers that become actors. You see actors that sing in one movie and put an album out. Like, there's a lot of crossover in other areas, but and comedians cross over and do other things. Comedians may become actors. I ain't never seen a comedian become like a singer or a rapper, but like, they may do some acting shit. But you just do not see a whole lot.
Won't call him a rapper per se, but he has released some tracks.
True. That's the closest that I think. But like, you don't see people that are known specifically just for acting becoming stand-up comics a lot. I'm sure there's some exceptions, and if anybody knows of any, please let me know, because I'm interested, but I just don't know of any crossover that happens that way. And I think it's because stand-up comedy is a very specific skill. Like I said, I don't think that everybody is able to do that. And so even if you're a good actor, that does not mean that you would be a good stand-up comic. Like, even if you could deliver funny lines in a movie, that does not mean that you would be a good stand-up comic who can get up and talk to an audience for an hour and do a whole show and people enjoy it. That doesn't cross over like that. And so it's just laughable to me that T.I. just think just because he T.I. he can do it all. He is just a superstar. Nigga, bye. That's that Napoleon shit. Like, he got little man syndrome up to here. And he just had to compensate for the fact that he like 4 feet tall. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. And he's so annoying. Until I get on my fucking nerves. Like, that arrogance, I just want to slap him. He annoys me. Like, I couldn't be friends with him. If we got famous, that would not be a nigga I would be hanging out with. Like, wouldn't happen. And if I was at an event where he was at, I wouldn't even go speak to him. I'm gonna be honest. Like, he irritates my soul.
Damn.
Irritates me. No thanks.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
All right, what you got?
Nothing else really. I had this. It was an interesting. It was an the Meg Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez shit is still going on. Now they going back and forth because they had some little hearing that really nothing was really said at. And both of them are trying to very much overstate what was said. It's like 2 words were said and both of them are like, those 2 words go show, but I'm right. Like, it was 2 words. It doesn't really prove either of you your points. So calm down. But they going back and forth with each other and all of that shit. I don't really give a fuck about that. But there was a thing on the Shade Room that said, did y'all notice we don't iron our clothes no more? Do you iron?
Do I iron?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't iron.
Why not?
I don't really have clothes that require ironing.
Because all your clothes be skin tight and stretch from when you put it on. But see, men's clothes ain't like that. We don't wear tight stuff. We wear shit that like got room for wrinkles to still exist if we don't do it.
Even my so like even my like I have slacks, but they don't be wrinkled. I don't know. Do I even have an iron? I don't know if I have an iron in this house.
Growing up, my brother used to just throw his clothes in the dryer, and that shit don't do nothing but let you leave with warm clothes on.
Yeah.
It don't like really press your clothes unless you dampen them and then do it. Which new washers and dryers have like a dampening component where it's got a hose connected to the dryer now, where
Mhm.
when you put it on the steam cycle, it'll like steam, it'll like wet it up a little bit, and then it'll steam dry it.
I had a steamer. Remy chewed the cord, and
Mm.
I didn't replace that. But I did have a steamer where I would like, hang stuff up and steam out the irons, but like, or the wrinkles. But like, I don't know the last time I owned an iron.
I actually need to get one. I need
But
to
I
get iron.
wonder how many people. So in the comments under the post, there were people that are like, I've always ironed. And then there were other people that were like, I haven't used an iron in years. So I don't know. There were people that say they dry clean all their stuff. I ain't gonna pay for no fucking.
Dry
Nowadays,
clean.
if it's dry clean, I don't own a whole lot of dry clean only clothing. And most of what I do own is stuff that I wore one time and didn't need to wear no more. It's
Yeah.
not. It's like fancy shit that like I don't go nowhere, so I don't need to wear. This person said my clothes don't even seem to get wrinkled though. Maybe fabric has changed because I haven't touched an iron in years.
Depends on if your shit's tight or not.
I'm trying to find if a man that says he doesn't iron. These are a lot of women, and our clothes are form fitting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all the men seem to be saying that. Well, this is a man that said, I hate it, but I do it every now and then. So you don't iron
That's
regularly.
probably because they got their women doing it. Old school cats. They be on that.
I steam everything. I stopped ironing over 10 years ago. Throw that shit in the dryer.
Don't work. Don't work right.
This
You
person
want it to
said
work right, so you accept it.
Yeah, it's about a mixed. I feel like it was a mixed response, but I read that and I was like, you know what? I'm sure there's an iron in here, but I don't know where it is, and I don't even know if it still works at this point. Like I said, I had a steamer and I would steam my clothes if they really needed it, but Remy chewed through the plug, and so, or the cord, and so now it can't be plugged in. And I was very pissed about that. But like traditional ironing with like an ironing board, no. You know what? My boyfriend irons. I was at his house and he had ordered an ironing board off of Amazon. I was like, oh. So he irons, but he also kind of has to keep his shit for his job. His uniform has to be crisp.
Yeah.
So
I imagine.
he has to iron.
Oh, I wear jogging pants 5 days a week now.
Yeah.
You fuck by ironing. I wear a t-shirt with Ninja Turtles on in my jogging pants, and I'll be happy. Graphic tee, Snoopy. I got Snoopy on more shirts than anything else.
Why so much Snoopy?
I don't give a fuck about Snoopy. They just was whatever the 2X was an option in the place that I got it from at the point. And I've had them the longest, so now they fit the best. Like they got that good stretch on them where they ain't never gonna get back small again. Yeah, I fuck with them. I fuck with them.
Yeah, I do a lot of telehealth now. So a lot of times I wear onesies around the house, but in the video from the top up, it just looked like I got a hoodie on. So most of the time when I'm doing my sessions, I'm in this one is a panda. I'm in a onesie.
Do them onesies be having the booty out when you go to the bathroom, or
no,
do you
they make those, but no.
So you got to take them out like a what is it called? Them. You just gotta be butt
like
naked while using the bathroom, like a romper. Yeah,
like a romper. You just unzip it and pull it down. Some of them have butt out, but even if it had that, I would be afraid that the flap would get in the water. I wouldn't use it. I'd still just take the whole thing off. Like there's too much. You could like
flashback.
fuck up. Yeah, I mean, it's too much that could go wrong with that. So I would still just take it off.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so like I don't really wear a whole lot. And then when I do go in, the agency I work for is pretty like I wear like jeans and shit. Like I don't really have a need to be dressed up very often now. Very rarely. So that's probably another reason why. And it's been that way for a while. So yeah. Maybe people with like other kinds of jobs need to, but not for what I do.
Yeah, ironing helps things. There's a couple of other things I was talking about, but I want to see how they develop over the coming weeks. One of them is the Don't Say Gay bill in Florida. It's just going along with CRT. They trying to keep kids from learning about pregnancy and homosexuality. So any parent that suspects that their kids are learning about that stuff can sue the school.
Do they know that kids that go to like Catholic schools or did they realize that this don't work? Like we have evidence that doesn't work.
They don't care. These are all posturing platforms.
Like you have kids at Catholic schools smoking crack and shit. Like
these are just posturing for getting legislation passed that they want. And for going into politics, like running for president, high office, rerunning for their campaign. Especially like DeSantis. DeSantis is expected to run for president, especially if Trump don't run. But what else? The State of the Union address, they putting blockades up at the White House because a lot of that trucking situation in Canada, they suspect that a whole bunch of people are going to come to Washington trying to protest in the name of that. But we'll see. We will see. But you got anything else on your mind outside of that?
I do not.
All right. Well, until we come to the next conversation.
Out.
Holla.